considered valid. So again, it's not the Trump campaign doing this. It's not based on voter fraud. It's totally constitutional. It's not. So I think that this, of all of the cases that have been brought so far, I think this is the one that has the greatest chance of success. And it opens up the door to a whole range of problems and possibilities. So we're going to have to wait and see how it plays out.
I guess what my question was is how long does the Supreme Court have before they have to come up with an answer?
I suspect that they'll answer this pretty soon. If they've insisted that that the defendants in this case file their defenses by, as I said, 3 p.m. I think it is on tomorrow afternoon, December 9th. And the fact that they're insisting, they've given an order to that effect. So the fact that they have made it an order is an indication that they want to deal with this very quickly. I would not be surprised that they come down with a decision as early as Friday. But even if it's not Friday, it could be Saturday, it could be Sunday, could even be Monday.
So within the next 7 days?
I would expect that by Monday at the latest, you'll have a ruling on this.
Because if this ruling goes the way it sounds like it very well could go, against those who change the rules, the consequences of that could be earth-shaking.
Well, look, this is why you have a constitution. This is why you have rules.
Yes.
Right? Follow the rules.
Absolutely.
It's as simple as that.
And you know what? I think this stems from the hatred for Trump being so deep that they were willing to do anything to get rid of him. And these states were blinded to the legalities of what they wanted to do. So they just said, no, we're getting rid of Trump. That's all there is to it, and here's how we're going to do it. And whether their legal teams were either on board or warned them and they ignored them, because you know there's not a governor out there who would make a move like this without talking about his talking to his legal team about what his options are legally. They're just not going to do that, because that exposes them to exactly this kind of thing. Because who wants to be a governor where the state got sued and lost because they messed with the Constitution? You might as well stand on a trapdoor with a noose around your neck. Well, that's the end of your political career.
Well, Nick, you're not wrong, and this raises a very interesting question that I often ask myself, and that is, when it comes to public officials in high public office who get caught, with their hands in the cookie jar or other things, I'm constantly astonished by this, and I'm always asking either them, if I have the ability, the opportunity to ask them, or other people associated with them, and that is, what makes what makes them think that they would not get caught? And this, there are questions out there in the line of work that I'm in, and that's, politics and public policy and elections and people who are in the news, okay, whether they're elected or not. So, I mean, I've had as clients people who were, senior corporate executives, etc. So let's call it celebrities, although I don't deal...
Right.
I've never really dealt with anyone who's an entertainment celebrity, okay, except maybe you, Nick, but never as a client.
Well, right? that's stretching things.
But this is one of those questions that I've never had an answer to. I don't know that there's a clear answer to it. Call it ego, call it hubris, call it, at some point in time you just think that you can't get caught. It can't happen to be. So this is why I tell people when they're first considering running for office, if they come to me for advice, I like to insist that, if you have any skeletons in your closet, let's get them out there right now. We're going to have a press conference. When you announce that you're running for office, that's going to be the skeleton in the closet press conference. And we're going to throw, I'm running for office, and I'm going to throw open the closet door, and you guys get to watch, you guys get to see all of the skeletons out there. I don't want to hide anything. And I've said to people, this is what you should do. And they go, well, I don't know. Do we want to give the opposition opportunity to attack us? And I'm going, they're going to know. I have people come to me and say, well, yeah, there was this. I said this on Twitter 2 years ago or 5 years ago, but it's okay. I've taken it down now. And I go, yeah, no. Somehow once it's out there in cyberspace, it's there permanently. Somehow people are going to find it, whether it's on Facebook or it's on Twitter or it's on social media. And look, here's the thing, okay? When you've been on social media for 10 years and you're an active participant, rest assured you're going to do something, you're going to say something that you're later going to regret. So you might as well just come right out and say it. You know what? 10 years ago, I wrote this on Facebook. And looking back on it, it was pretty stupid. But I want you to know about it because I'm an open book. I think that now, I don't know anybody that's actually taken that, that advice that's actually done it. But I think that that's actually the smart thing to do.
Well, Joseph, if I ever run for office, I'll take your advice.
And if I ever run for office, I'll take my advice too. The only problem is it'll be a heck of a long press conference.
Yeah, you're going to use the old bore 'em to sleep tactic.
That's right. It's the press conference that lasts until everybody drops. Which is another tactic.
Bring your lunch.
That's right. Just
bring a lunch bag, boys. You're going to need it.
That's right. Questions? Any more questions? Come on, guys. You must have more questions. Okay.
We've only been here 4 hours.
Yeah. I had one political client that had some pretty strong and somewhat controversial views on some issues, and so we, when we were putting together his campaign, we decided, we're going to lead. The common strategy was, you don't lead with controversy. Okay, we're not going to bury the controversy, but let's just tap it down a little bit. We don't need to be in people's faces about it. But our decision was to take the opposite tack. We said, oh no, we're going to take the most controversial views and we're going to lead with them. And so for the first week or so of this person's campaign, every time there was a press conference or whatever, we made a point of pointing out his controversial views on this particular issue. And it got to the point where, the media people who would cover this particular politician got to the point where off the record, they were coming to us and our press people and going, okay, we get it. Okay, we get it. We understand this. Can we move on to something else? And it was really quite beautiful. It was quite
magic, was it?
Well, it really proved our point, and that is that if you run away from something, it looks like you have something to hide. And
there's a lot of truth in that.
There's no sense in trying to hide from controversy if you've said controversial things. So get it out there. It's like when you go to court, Nick. Okay, your lawyers will tell you if you have something damaging and you're a witness, it's better for you to get it out when you're on the witness stand yourself rather than waiting for the opposition lawyers to bring it out during cross-examination, because it makes it look like you were trying to hide something. But this is beside the point, isn't it? This is,
even if you were. It is, but it's fun.
It is. So it'll be interesting to see how this court case goes in the States. And, here's another thing that astonishes me, Nick, and that is how much attention we in Canada pay to what's going on in the States politically.
It's like a national sport.
Isn't it, though?
Like... It is. It's ridiculous. I mean, we don't vote down there. I'm speaking in general terms now.
Of course.
We don't vote down there. We don't have any influence over the course of events down there. And yet we act as if they hang on every word we say. And nothing could be further from the truth. Most Americans could not give a flying fiddler's foxfart about what Canadians think about their politics. They just don't care.
You're channeling your Lowell Green there.
I don't blame them. I am. I got to admit. I always did like that, because you can't swear on the radio. It's in bad form, but that works.
Look,
anyway.
Now, I can excuse the common average people, okay, because it's interesting, okay? But what makes our mainstream media so obsessed about what's going on in the States? I mean, I turn to CBC, and what do I have on CBC? I have, Trump this, Trump that, and I'm going, why? I can't really figure it out, Nick. It's too complicated.
I don't get it either. It's like, don't you have enough scandal here in your own backyard to deal with?
And
I mean, why?
And we do.
Yeah, that's the point. We don't have a lack of topics. We don't have a lack of issues. Let's concentrate on our own backyard before we worry about what our neighbor's backyard looks like.
Yeah.
And yet, every time you turn around, here we go. Somebody, whether it's on a news talk station or a magazine, or it's a newspaper, things like that. Everywhere you turn is Trump this, Trump that, Trump this, Trump that, Obama this, Obama that, George Bush this. I mean, it's been going on since Reagan, and probably before that. We have this national fetish with American politics. And I think, as much as I despise the man, Pierre Elliott Trudeau kind of summed it up, why Canadians are so enamored is not the right word, but focused might be better on American politics. And he said, living next door to the Americans is very much like sleeping with an elephant. The elephant doesn't notice you when you roll over, when he rolls over on you, but you notice. And I think that that might not be exactly the quote, but that's the sentiment contained in what he was trying to say. And on that particular note, I got to give him credit, because I think he was probably right.
I think
that might be part of it.
I think he was probably right as well. And on that note, to quote you, time for us to go for our final break. We're at the bottom of the hour here, Nick. So if you're listening to the live show, we'll be back in a few minutes. If you're listening to the podcast, thank you for joining us today, and we hope you will join us for segment number 4, part 4, which will be posted on Tuesday morning. So again, we'll be back in a few minutes here on the Nick and Joe Show, ThinkRadio.ca.